By the end of the 19th century, Africa was disappearing, not physically, but politically. Across the continent, European empires raced to seize lands they had never governed. Britain, France, Belgium, Germany, Portugal, one after another. Their flags spread across Africa. To the governments of Europe, Africa was not a continent of ancient civilizations. It was a prize to be divided. Many believed no African kingdom possessed the military strength, the political unity, or the modern technology to resist. Kingdom after kingdom fell. Then, Europe turned its attention to one nation unlike any other. High in the mountains of the Horn of Africa stood an empire with a history stretching back thousands of years. A kingdom ruled by emperors, defended by warriors, protected by mountains that had defeated invaders for centuries. Italy expected another easy colonial conquest. Instead, it would suffer one of the greatest military defeats in modern history. Its army would be routed, its imperial ambitions would be shattered, and the victory of one African nation would inspire generations of people fighting for freedom. This is the extraordinary story of Emperor Menelik II, Empress Taytu Betul, and the Battle of Adwa, the day Ethiopia changed African history forever. The race for Africa. The late 19th century, where it was an age of empire, Europe's factories demanded raw materials. Its industries wanted new markets. Its governments competed for power, prestige, and territory. Africa became the center of that competition. In 1884, Europe's most powerful nations gathered in Berlin, not to discuss peace, but to divide an entire continent. No African king, no emperor, no chief was invited. Thousands of kilometers away, foreign rulers drew borders across maps, deciding the future of millions who had no voice in the room. Within only a few decades, almost all of Africa had fallen under colonial rule. Almost, because in East Africa, one empire still stood free: Ethiopia. Unlike many neighboring kingdoms, Ethiopia possessed something unique: centuries of statehood, experienced military leaders, natural mountain defenses, and soon, a visionary emperor. His name was Menelik II, the rise of Menelik II and the road to war. If Ethiopia was going to survive, it would need more than mountains, more than courage, more than tradition. It would need a leader who could see the future. That leader was Menelik II. Long before he became emperor, Menelik ruled the kingdom of Shewa. His early life was filled with political intrigue, rivalries, and hardship. Those experiences shaped him. They taught him patience. They taught him diplomacy. And most importantly, they taught him that the greatest battles are often won before they are ever fought. As European empires expanded across Africa, Menelik watched carefully. He saw powerful kingdoms disappear. He saw colonial armies, equipped with modern rifles, artillery, and industrial resources, overwhelming opponents who were brave but unprepared. He refused to let Ethiopia become another colony. Instead of waiting for war, he began preparing for it, years in advance. Modernizing an ancient empire, Menelik understood that courage alone could not stop bullets. Across Europe, factories produced thousands of modern rifles, powerful artillery, and millions of rounds of ammunition. Many African rulers struggled to obtain these weapons, but Menelik used diplomacy as skillfully as any general used an army. He built relationships with competing European powers, purchasing modern firearms from different countries, ensuring that no single nation controlled Ethiopia's future. Every shipment that crossed the Red Sea made Ethiopia stronger. Every rifle brought the nation one step closer to defending its independence. At the same time, Menelik worked to unite Ethiopia itself, its provinces, its nobles, its diverse peoples. He knew a divided nation could never defeat a united empire. The Iron Queen standing beside the emperor was one of the most remarkable women in African history. Empress Taytu Betul. She was far more than a royal wife. She was a strategist, a diplomat, a trusted advisor, and a fierce defender of Ethiopia's sovereignty. Taytu believed that colonial conquest did not always begin with armies. Sometimes it began with treaties, with carefully chosen words, with promises that concealed dangerous intentions. Again and again, she urged caution. Again and again, she reminded the emperor that Ethiopia's freedom must never be negotiated away. The treaty that changed everything. In 1889, Italy presented Ethiopia with what appeared to be a treaty of friendship. It became known as the Treaty of Wukal. At first, everything seemed normal. Both nations agreed to peaceful relations. But hidden inside one article was a devastating difference. The Amharic version stated that Ethiopia could ask Italy to assist with foreign affairs if it chose to. The Italian version told a completely different story. It claimed that Ethiopia must conduct all foreign relations through Italy. One word, one translation, one enormous consequence. Italy announced to Europe that Ethiopia had become an Italian protectorate. When Menelik discovered what Italy had claimed, he was furious. He had signed a treaty of friendship, not a document, surrendering his country's independence. His response was immediate. He rejected Italy's interpretation completely. There would be no protectorate, no foreign control, no surrender. Diplomacy had reached its limit. War was now unavoidable. A nation answers the call across Ethiopia. Messengers rode through mountains, villages, and valleys. The emperor's message was simple. The nation was in danger. The response was extraordinary. Farmers left their fields, horsemen gathered, blacksmiths forged weapons, day and night. Priests offered prayers, communities donated food, livestock, and supplies. Women organized vast supply networks, transporting food, water, and ammunition to support the growing army. The entire nation became part of the coming war. By early 1896, tens of thousands of Ethiopian soldiers had answered the emperor's call. Some carried modern rifles, others carried traditional spears and shields, but every one of them marched with the same purpose: to defend their homeland. Ahead of them, an Italian army was already advancing. Both sides believed history would soon be written. The Battle of Adwa, victory, and the legacy of Ethiopia. By the final days of February, there was no turning back. Across the rugged mountains of northern Ethiopia, two armies marched toward destiny. One army fought for empire, the other fought for freedom. The Italian commanders believed their modern weapons, their military training, and their European experience would guarantee victory. But they had made one fatal mistake. They had underestimated Ethiopia. The night before the battle, on the night of February 29th, 1896, Italian forces began their march toward Adwa. The mountains were dark, cold, silent. Narrow trails twisted between steep cliffs and rocky valleys. The terrain was unfamiliar. Maps proved unreliable. Communication began to fail. Instead of advancing as one united army, Italian brigades became separated. Without realizing it, they had walked into a trap. Dawn at Adwa. Then at 8 and the sun rose. Its first light revealed thousands of Ethiopian warriors, already watching from the surrounding mountains. Messengers raced between commanders. War drums echoed through the valleys. Priests raised their voices in prayer. Men tightened their grip on rifles spears, and shields. Every soldier knew what was at stake. If Ethiopia lost, its independence might disappear forever. The battle begins then. The first cannon fired. The Battle of Adwa had begun. Artillery thundered across the mountains. Rifle fire echoed through the valleys. Smoke covered the battlefield. But amid the chaos, Ethiopia's commanders recognized Italy's greatest weakness. The invading army was divided. Rather than attacking every Italian position at once, they struck one isolated brigade after another. Thousands of Ethiopian soldiers charged down the hillsides. Some carried modern rifles. Others fought with traditional weapons that had defended their homeland for generations. Wave after wave after wave, they advanced. Leadership under fire. Throughout the battle, Emperor Menelik remained calm. Years of preparation were unfolding exactly as he had hoped. His commanders adapted quickly, using the mountains to surround and overwhelm isolated Italian units. Behind the front lines, Empress Taytu continued organizing supplies, food, water, ammunition, medical care. She understood that even the bravest army could not fight without support. Together, the emperor, the empress, the generals, and the people fought as one nation. The turning point. By midday, the battle line had changed. Italian officers could no longer communicate. Entire brigades had been surrounded. Ammunition was running low. Confusion spread across the battlefield. The confidence with which the invasion had begun slowly disappeared. It was replaced by desperation. Soon, retreat became the only option. Thousands attempted to flee. Many never escaped. Victory. As the sun began to set, the firing grew quieter. The smoke slowly cleared. The mountains of Adwa belonged to Ethiopia. The cost had been enormous. Thousands of Ethiopian soldiers had given their lives to defend their homeland. Families would mourn, communities would grieve, but their sacrifice had preserved their freedom. When news reached Europe, disbelief spread quickly. A modern European army had been defeated by an African empire. It was a result few had imagined possible. Later that year, Italy officially recognized Ethiopia's independence. The empire had survived. A legacy that lives on. The victory at Adwa echoed far beyond Ethiopia. Across Africa and throughout the African diaspora, people heard the news. For those living under colonial rule, Adwa became a symbol that resistance was possible, that unity mattered, that preparation could overcome even the strongest empire. The battle inspired future generations of African leaders, freedom movements, and Pan-African thinkers who believed that independence could one day be achieved. The final message: history often remembers those who conquered, but sometimes the greatest story belongs to those who refused to be conquered. When nearly all of Africa fell under colonial rule, one nation stood firm, not because it was the largest, not because it was the richest, but because it prepared, it united, and it refused to surrender. The hills of Adwa are more than a battlefield. They are a reminder that freedom must be defended, that leadership can change history, and that unity can overcome even impossible odds. The story of Emperor Menelik II and Empress Taytu Betul is not only the story of Ethiopia, it is one of the greatest stories ever told about Africa. Narrator softly, history belongs on.